It's great to have you on the show. I got to tell you, really super proud of you for all the work you're doing with the deregulations and slashing that agency. The EPA has been a nightmare for so many people, probably the biggest nightmare of all the agencies. So hat tip to you on that.
Hey, thanks. We inherited a big mess from the Biden administration, but we have a good team, a lot of bandwidth to do everything at once. And we'll have more deregulation done in 1 year than entire federal governments across all agencies, across entire presidencies. That's how much of a mess we inherited, and that means the cost of living goes down. It's easier to be able to afford to survive here in the U.S. While we're doing it, as you pointed out, we're also fixing the agency operationally. And our operating budget is about $10 billion a year. In my first 100 days, I had already canceled over $22 billion worth of grants, so over twice the size of our operating budget. So we're firing on all cylinders, and we're doing it all at once. We're not pacing ourselves.
Good. Excellent. I'm glad to hear that because this is what needs to happen, and it absolutely does. Talk to me about the One Big Beautiful Bill and how that will help you accomplish your goals of slashing these regulations.
Well, everyone is talking a lot, as they should, about all of the benefits from the tax cut front and the consequences if this bill doesn't pass where taxes go up. There's also been coverage as it relates to securing our country, improving border security, strengthening interior enforcement. But as it relates to energy and the environment, this is also legislation that goes after billions of dollars of tax dollars that were dedicated to the Green New Scam, reversing Biden's EV mandates and promoting consumer choice, refilling the strategic petroleum reserve, which is important, advancing new leases for oil and gas to tap into a domestic energy supply and help unleash energy dominance. So these are all examples of what might be lesser covered, and it all is part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, which has passed the House. We have to get over the Senate to the president for a signature.
Good. Excellent. Big news last week out of California, obviously, killing the Gavin Newsom's ridiculous mandate on these EVs. Something similar that we're dealing with in New Jersey, obviously, with the governor there. But you were able to accomplish this, and this is great. But it also, Administrator Zeldin, goes to a point about the EPA problematically, which so many of us have had. I know you've had this problem. You've expressed this in so many times, which is that they just write rules. They promulgate rules under the guise of them being, these rules, but they have the power of law. They are laws. And then they wind up, Congress doesn't vote for them, but they mandate all these things. You've been able to completely undo that. How are you able to do it?
Yeah, it's a great point. On March 12th, I announced what would amount to the largest deregulatory action in the agency's history. Over 30 actions were announced on March 12th. You referenced just now what the president signed last week, which was a really big deal. It was 3 Congressional Review Act resolutions, so it passed the House and the Senate, to eliminate the Biden EPA waiver that was given to California that allowed them to advance their tailpipe emissions, to work towards getting rid of the combustible engine, to enact a 100% electric vehicle mandate that a bunch of other states had signed up to. So when the Trump administration comes in at the beginning of 2025, what I did was send those 3 Biden EPA waivers to Congress. Congress then can consider them as rules, and under the Congressional Review Act, acting within 60 session calendar days, they were able to pass their resolution to get rid of those EPA waivers, which the president signed last week. And we should have the entire country on one standard. It's important for people to be able to afford their own vehicle. It's important to protect and bring back American auto jobs, and it promotes consumer choice and consumer freedom. Even in California, where they're trying to move towards this 100% electric vehicle mandate, a very large majority of their residents don't want to drive an electric vehicle. And our thought is, If you want to drive an electric vehicle, go drive an electric vehicle.
Sure.
If you want to go buy a gas-powered vehicle, go buy a gas-powered vehicle. But the government shouldn't be mandating an electric vehicle for all.
No, absolutely not. And and by doing so, they force the automobile industry to adjust their manufacturing. And you had cars sitting on lots, and they weren't allowed to build gas-powered cars, and it was a mess what the EPA did there. And again, not an act of Congress. It was something that they just put in through rules, which you are now reversing, thankfully. Lee Zeldin's here, the administrator for the United States EPA. It's great to have him on the show. You have a proposal to repeal the Biden-era EPA regulations on power plants. Now, I can tell you, New Jersey, this is a big deal for our listening region because the idiot governor there, he shut down all these coal-powered fire plants. Now New Jersey has to bring in all their energy from out of state. Energy rates are spiking in June. They're going to spike again in September. So how can you help us with this?
We need more baseload power, not less. And as you know, I come from the neighboring state of New York, where they ban gas hookups on new construction. They won't allow the safe extraction of natural gas. They're not approving new pipelines, gas-powered vehicles. They have these climate goals, these years they're trying to hit these standards that they will not hit. But in trying to, they will cause extreme economic pain to the people who can least afford it. And they would say that wind, an intermittent source, is somehow a substitute for baseload power. It's not. So we have to be smart about energy policy. We need more of it, not less. We're going to do our part here at EPA to reverse that damage of the Biden EPA, where they were trying to strangulate industries out of existence, forms of baseload power out of existence, which causes people to lose jobs, less access to energy. It ends up costing more to be able to power your home or your car. So we just want to be smart. We choose both protecting the environment and growing the economy. We choose both. It was a binary choice with the Biden EPA where they decided to strangulate the economy, and we're not playing along.
Yeah, good for you. I mean, really good for you. You're fighting back. Your state of New York, where you come from, they have a moratorium on natural gas. That's ridiculous to me. And it's something that we have to be very grateful here in Pennsylvania that President Trump won and put you in charge of the EPA. Otherwise, we'd be watching the same exact stuff play out.
Yeah, what you see inside of these state capitals in blue states like New York and California is a pretty darn good clue as to what to bring to Washington if they had the power to. And now we don't have to go through a hypothetical like during the November 2020 campaign. What if Joe Biden ends up becoming president? What kind of policies would he institute? And then, we're putting out there what we believe would happen. Now we can look back on the last 4 years at what actually happened, and the contrast. President Trump's message of unleashing energy dominance, of making America the AI capital of the world, of advancing cooperative federalism and permitting, as spoken about along the way now, is not in a vacuum based on the hypothetical of what might happen if the other side was in charge. We saw it. We saw what kind of damage it did, and the American public fortunately chose wisely last November.
Well, I want to give you a serious round of applause for your work in deregulation and your work in taking an agency that was a monster, that was targeting businesses and targeting American workers, and what was so disastrous to the American economy that we were all rooting when Chevron came around to try to rein it in, but now we're rooting that you're there to actually be able to rein it in. So I congratulate you on that. Keep up the good work. I mean this sincerely, like you're doing a kick-ass job. So follow him on X at Lee Zeldin, and please also on X at EPA Lee Zeldin as well. Administrator, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for making time for us today in Philadelphia.
Of course. Great to be with you.